everyone, and welcome to 1923 Main Street.
Home of the Daddy-Daughter Disney Travel Podcast. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bellabraddock.
And I'm Amelia Bellabraddock. And today, we are going to be talking about our top picks for the table service dining at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
And we're also going to be doing a this or that, so you'll get to see our favorite picks.
I didn't know we were going to do a this or that. So.
Well, now we are.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going to do... Well, listen, what's a Disney vacation without some table service dining?
Yeah, really.
And I haven't counted recently, but I think there are somewhere around 100 table service dining restaurants at Disney World.
Wow, so how do you pick?
Well, that's the thing. If you've been there a few times, you start to get to know some favorites.
But if you've never been,
if you've never been there, it's super overwhelming. So, listen, everybody has their own ones they like and don't like, and even in our family, we like different ones sometimes than each other. But today we're going to talk about the ones that we pretty much know that are in our top 10, let's say.
Yeah, we tried to differentiate a little bit in our top 10 because there are some things that are very top-notch. And then there are also some maybe less expensive or less fancy options.
That's a good point. Table service, they're not all the same level, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Kids might not like a smoked duck with a side of couscous and whatnot.
Well, the kid loves that.
I mean, I like steak, but, you know.
Yeah, you love steak. You used to call it snake.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to say we are not talking about character dining.
Oh, yes.
We're going to do another separate episode. So there are obviously, I think all the character dining or table service, but we're keeping those separate. And we're also not talking about the interactive because we already did those in episode, I can't remember, but an earlier episode. You're usually pretty good with those. Can you remember offhand? I can't.
Ooh, interactive dining.
Anyway.
It was an early one.
Yeah, look it up. Interactive dining. We did a good episode on that.
I think it was 5.
Yeah, we did our top 5
No,
picks.
it was episode 5.
Oh, and it was also our top 5 picks.
Yeah, so check if I'm right.
And then also today, we're going to talk about a couple. One we're watching. We haven't made a call. We think it's good, but we haven't made a call. And a couple that we...
think have gone downhill.
We think have gone downhill.
And a few that are just now in our top picks that weren't even there before.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. I hope you've all eaten because we're going to talk about dining. And let's start with, what do you want to start with?
So these are not in any particular order.
Good point. Always. They're just ones so let me say this. If you're starting to think about booking your next Disney vacation and you're thinking about dining, I would suggest that you should have at least one of these, if not two, on your weekly itinerary. You won't go wrong in our experience.
And if you choose a super expensive one, maybe only one, but you know.
And we've dined at these things usually much more than once over the last many years. So it's based on several visits. Okay, let's start with California Grill, atop Disney's Contemporary Resort.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I really like about this one?
What? I mean...
So this one has multiple options. There's like steak and there's meals for the more sophisticated palate, but then there's also like fries or there's things that children would like as well.
And they have a big sushi bar there too. So one thing you won't remember, Amelia, is right around the time that you started eating, you started eating steak and sort of more what I'd call adult food in Disney terms, much earlier than the 9-year age limit.
Oh, yeah.
I think by age 6 or 7, you were asking to eat off the adult menu.
Yeah.
But I can't even remember what I was going to say now. But, I was going to say, sorry, they changed the menu, maybe 5, 6 or something years ago. So you were just sort of coming. You don't remember the old menu is what I was going to get at. But this new one is way better, and it's really good. They also have a great wine list there. And
I can't really talk for that.
But do you remember some of the things that happened to you there? Like what you got there that they gave you?
Like the knife or like
the scraper.
Yeah.
So one thing California
knife to,
Grill.
Shave off.
Yeah. When they come to the table and you have breadcrumbs, they have a special little, sort of like a knife or scraper, a fancy little thing that they use to clean the table in this fancy restaurant. And they gave you one and they wrote you a little note with it. So one thing I'd like to point out is it is a upscale-ish signature dining experience. They're kid-friendly, super kid-friendly.
And let's just say I make a few crumbs on bread.
Yeah, well, I think most kids and even a lot of adults crumb up the table when they have crusty bread like that. And the other good thing, not only is the food excellent here, but the location is amazing.
Yeah. It's a beautiful view if you're sitting at the window as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you can walk out, right? We can walk out to those viewing areas outside if it's nice out. And a lot of people will book this one for the fireworks. We don't usually do that. We book it more in the 6 o'clock dinner hour, but it
Yeah.
is, if you want to see the fireworks with your meal, you might book one of the later seatings. So California Grill and Disney's Contemporary Resort is awesome. And way back in the early days, it used to be a nightclub, Top of the World. So if any of you old timers like me will remember Top of the World at Disney's Contemporary Resort, that is what is now California Grill.
If any of you young people like me want to move ahead because it's the past is in the past.
All right, let's move ahead to what is so California Grill definitely.
Great choice.
Yeah, it's Mummy's number one pick.
Yeah.
My wife, your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, not my mom. My mom's number one picks were different, but yeah, California Grill, good one. Okay, what do you want to talk about next on the list?
How about the Grand Floridian Cafe?
Ooh, this one I like. So we're going to hop across Seven Seas Lagoon over to the Grand Floridian Resort Hotel, which has a ton of restaurants compared to other hotels. It has more than any table service restaurants.
Yeah, they have a lot. They have 1900 Park Fair.
Yeah, and they
Victoria and Albert's, Narcoossee's, Citrico's. They have a lot.
Yeah, they have a lot. And Grand Floridian Cafe, I think this is an underrated. If there's a hidden gem of restaurants, I would say Grand Floridian. We just talked about Hidden Gems.
Gems Restaurant Edition.
Yeah, Hidden Gems Restaurant Edition. I would put Grand Floridian Cafe in there. It is underrated and undervalued in my experience, and the food is good. This is actually one of the first places when we were on Daddy-Daughter Disney days that you went off menu. And
yes,
you were 7 or 8 then?
Yeah, no.
How old were you?
I was
younger?
6. I was 6.
Okay, you were 6 even. And
no, I was 5.
And the
Sorry,
typical
5.
kid menu, it's gotten better at high-end restaurants, but at that time they did not have good cuts of beef or steak on the kids menu.
I mean, sorry, but what 5-year-old really wants steak?
This one that I'm looking at
Yeah.
right now.
I just remember I was like, Daddy, I want the bigger one. It looks too small.
Yeah, so they were really good there about giving an adult, like a kid-sized, and I think I can't remember exactly, but we do this every time. I think they price it sort of in between, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later about the other one, but I think that relates to this story. But for my money, Grand Floridian Cafe is a choice you should make at the Grand Floridian. The other benefit about it is you can usually get a reservation there.
Yeah.
Even when you're on site in a busy time.
And it is a very beautiful dining room as well.
Yeah, it's a great dining room. It's got a good
very
view.
Very open.
I remember sitting
Lots
in
of
there
light.
and we saw a wedding couple go by in the carriage, in Cinderella carriage, pulled by the horses, and they stopped right outside the window to do wedding photos. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went outside to, wish them well and all that. It's fun. It's a good place, good location, really good food, really well priced compared to the other ones on property.
Yeah.
I guess it's the lowest end of the table service there, but I think it deserves definitely deserves attention.
But also keep in mind, by saying the lowest end at the Grand Floridian.
In terms of price.
Yeah. Oh, well, in terms of price. But also keep in mind, this is at the Grand Floridian. Because the lowest end at the Grand Floridian could be better than the highest end at a value or a moderate or something.
Well, they don't even have table service there. So
yeah,
there you go.
Exactly.
That's one of the reasons we, always prefer deluxe resorts, just because they have so much more. And that's where we always stay. So Grand Floridian Cafe, definitely consider it.
Yes.
It will surprise you. We send a lot of people there who might not otherwise consider it as a place to do table service.
It's not expensive, but great food.
Yeah, it's not a signature, but it's definitely a cut above what you may think it is.
Yeah.
Okay, going on to the third one we're going to talk about. And this is a relatively new one for us that really blew me away. I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good. And also kid-friendly as well.
Yeah, which surprised me. So we haven't said what it is yet. We're going to Epcot now, and there's a ton of table service dining in Epcot. And we're going to talk about another one later. But this one is, can you pronounce it?
Takumi Tay.
Yes, I believe it's Takumi Tay. We were going Takumi Tay. I think I looked it up, and it's Takumi Tay. And I remember looking up what it meant, and I forget now. But so this is the new signature dining in the Japan Pavilion. And it is amazing. You walk in there and there are what? Do you remember?
There are 4 dining rooms. Yeah,
4 dining rooms. Air, fire, water, paper? Is that what it is?
There's the wood room.
Oh, yeah.
We were in the paper
You're
room.
in the paper room.
There's little glass cases on the wall, and there's a little ball of whatever the room. So there's the paper room, which we were in. There's the wood room. I think there was the glass.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember the 4 rooms. But what happens
It was mostly elements of nature,
Yeah.
very very calming.
it's really interesting because it is super high end, but it's sort of really simple as well.
Yeah.
And when you go in, your hostesses bring you in, and you go to that
They're
first
dressed
entryway.
in nice kimonos.
Yeah, they're dressed and it's very proper, very elegant. They're super nice, and you are put into a certain room. And we were in paper, as you just said,
Yeah.
and the rooms are like, I don't know, it sounds bad, but I say like Japanese IKEA. They're almost so simple but elegant at the same time.
Yeah.
But really, the food there, this was the closest thing I think to Victorian Albert's that
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that I've ever found, and I really loved it there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a beef dish. Do you remember what you had? Did you have the same thing?
Yeah, I think so.
I had the Wagyu beef, but I did not upgrade. They offer you upgrades, and the straight menu beef was incredible.
Yeah, I don't really think you need to upgrade.
Yeah, I would
And
say that as
again,
well.
at Victorian Albert's, you don't really need to.
I did upgrade there just for fun. On
I
one of them.
preferred the
Yeah, you had the regular, and
non-upgraded beef.
we shared each other, but we're jumping ahead there.
Yeah, sorry.
But Takumi Te, yeah. And the other thing is, I like whiskeys, and they have a huge menu in those Japanese whiskeys. And I got,
oh,
yeah, do you
I remember this.
The cherry wood smoked
yeah,
whiskey.
they bring in, it's like this lantern contraption thing.
Yeah, glass.
And they open the
container.
door, and the smoke just like
Fills
Elsa.
your table area.
It smells delicious. I mean, I don't know how I
Yeah.
should say that about whiskey, but it doesn't smell like whiskey.
No, it was really, really good. So, if you're a whiskey fan at all, go for the show of the smoked whiskey because it was great. And I forget what Mommy had, but her cocktail was great as well. All around, the food was
My
excellent.
lemonade was great.
The service
for
was
asking.
stunning. We had 2 servers, again, similar to Victorian Albert's. And so Takumi Te, really, really good. I highly recommend it. It's expensive.
Yeah, but one of the servers they helped me make an origami
Oh, that's
crane, I
right.
think. A crane?
That's right. Again, super
Yeah.
kid friendly.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Because
I
it
felt
was the
bad for them.
paper room.
Yeah, because they were outside in their Japanese long sleeves.
Yeah, and it was the paper room. So that I don't know what they do in the other rooms because we've
Yeah.
only had that paper room. We've only been to this one once because it's fairly new. And yeah, and they wrote your Amelia in Japanese on the outside of it, and you
Yeah.
got that home. So Takumi Te, definitely.
I was actually looking at that the other day, trying to make it fly.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Very delicate.
Now, let's hop over to another spot that has
Ooh.
a lot of table service restaurants as well, and has come.
Can you guess it?
Can you guess it? It's come a long way in the last maybe 5 years, and there's a lot of good dining there
And
now.
3 different names.
Yeah, and 3 different names since the beginning.
Yeah.
4 technically, because the first one. So originally, what there was the Lake Buena Vista Shopping Village, and
Which
then
my aunt still calls it that.
yeah, the shopping
Well, the
village. And then it became,
Downtown Disney.
and now it's known as
Disney Springs.
Disney Springs.
And I jump back and forth between downtown and Disney Springs. Like when I'm there, I mostly call it Disney Springs because the signs are everywhere. Disney is not shy about having signs. But sometimes when I'm just talking about it, it's just like in there, like
Well,
downtown.
that's just like Auntie Donna, who
Yeah.
says, if you're listening, still calls it the village, the shopping village from our earliest days,
downtown.
way back when. But what's our favorite table service there?
The boathouse.
The Boathouse. Definitely visit the Boathouse if you have not. Great location on the water. That's where the amphicars that you see, the old
Yeah.
50 style wing cars that cruise
Those are
around on
pretty
the
cool.
lake. They launch from the Boathouse. We haven't done that, but I like watching them.
Yeah.
But the restaurant itself, it's really, really good. It's sort of casual and upscale at the same time. I love the lobster dish there personally. Do you remember what you ate? I can't recall what you ate. Mommy ate fish and she
Probably a
loved it.
steak.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to be
steak dish, but
honest.
we've gone there a couple of times
Probably
and
a steak.
it's great. So I definitely highly recommend
I
the
should
Boathouse.
probably try some different dishes, but
Do you like
their
lobster? I
steak's
can't-
great. Who
Yeah, you-
doesn't like lobster?
Well, you didn't. I can't remember with you.
I mean,
You-
I prefer steak.
Your palate
but I
has come a long way, I'll say,
lobster.
over the years. So
I mean, I prefer steak,
yeah,
but I
like
like
you,
lobster.
you like shrimp too. So maybe you should try that lobster next. Maybe you can surf and
I
turf it.
stole some of yours.
Yeah, it's
Oh, you didn't know that.
it's
Never
really
mi-
good.
Never mind. What?
Boathouse is definitely one, I would say.
The lobster's good. Don't tell him, but it's good.
So yeah, I did. I probably, being the kind person that no, I would not give away my lobster.
Yeah. Let's just say you were in the bathroom. I had an
And I
extra
left
fork.
unattended lobster.
Mistake numero uno.
One of the seats in there is actually like a cool actual boat, like like a
Oh, yeah.
like maybe a 20-foot wooden boat. That's actually they've turned into a. We didn't get that. We had just a traditional table, but
No, we had a booth.
they've got a. No, we had a table.
No. We had
Oh
a
well,
booth.
we've been there a couple of times.
Oh,
but
the time I'm thinking of, we
but
had
they
a
had
booth.
they've made a booth out of the boat, so that's
The
pretty
most
neat.
recent time we were there, we had a booth. No, we did get the.
No,
the
we
most-
didn't. We did not get the boat.
Not
Definitely.
the boat, but we got we got one boat.
No, not
There's the big boat, and then there's a few booths.
Yeah, but there's
that are
the
like
one
little
that's like a
booths.
whole boat. That
Yeah, we
they've
haven't
done.
gotten
You'll see
that.
it. It's right by the bar.
We haven't gotten that, but we've gotten a booth once.
So-
And then another time, we had a table.
Definitely do the boat. House.
Yes.
Highly recommended. Always good, consistent, good service. Love it.
Yeah, and I wasn't really sure the first time because it is in Disney Springs and there are a lot of casual dining options. At
And
Disney
even a
Springs.
lot of table service that are okay. There's a lot of okay,
Yeah, I think it's the best in
but
Disney
there are very
Springs.
few that I
Definitely
consider
the
like
best.
must-do dining.
Yeah,
If we're doing
the
that.
best in Disney Springs.
Okay, we're gonna hop back over to the Grand Floridian now for another one
Yes.
that I like.
This is Citrico.
Yes, and Citricos, I've heard maybe changing, like I think we mentioned in a previous episode, and sort of somehow being an offshoot of Victorian Alberts. I'm not sure about that, but in its current form, it is very good. It is definitely one you should also consider at the Grand Floridian. So Citrico's good, really good, nice. It's on the second level. Grand Floridian Cafe is on the first level, overlooking the gardens. This one's sort of right above it and right next to Victorian Alberts. Good dining. It's one of the first upscale ones you really liked as a kid because they had,
Yeah.
well, they all have great desserts, but you had like some sort of deconstructed s'more, as I recall.
I thought it was Victorian Albert for the longest time.
Well, they're right beside each other.
I know,
so-
but I was like,
yeah.
oh, Citrico's Victorian Albert. And
Well, we couldn't take
and
you to
Daddy was
Victorian
like,
Alberts till
those
you
are
were
two
10.
different restaurants. And I was like, what?
Well, you were, you were
Oh.
definitely too young at that point for Victorian Albert.
Yeah.
So another one at Grand Floridian. I mean, they're all pretty good, but Citrico's is good as well. Okay, now let's hop back to Epcot for another one of our classics.
Ooh.
And this is in our home country pavilion. Now, we're Canadian, and the Canada Pavilion, I'll tell you,
Let's say it.
how Canadian is it? I'll give them a break because, the story goes back to the early days when our great government would not contribute to the building of the Canadian Pavilion, and it almost got scrapped. So Disney went ahead and did it on their own. So kudos to you, Disney. We thank you as Canadians.
Yeah.
You did a pretty good job. It's sort of the architecture of those hotels actually do look like that. And all of our cities has a hotel looking like that. It's the Royal York in Toronto. But the rest of it is,
Let's just say we're not all maple syrup farmers.
yeah. And I don't understand that British red phone booth that's in the Canada
Yeah.
Pavilion. We've never had those unless it was, I don't know, but I've never seen one in my whole life. But anyway, there is, aside from all that, a great restaurant there known as Le Cellier. So we do love our steak in Canada, and the cheddar cheese soup is another classic there. So Le Cellier meal, you love. There's lots of good meat dishes there,
Yeah.
and it's a very dark. The Le Cellier, the cellar, is what the translation is.
I'm sorry.
And-
Like animals, could never be a vegetarian.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you too. Love animals,
Try.
but
They're just.
love my beef
Oh,
too, and
so
pork and
tasty.
everything else. And there they do it right. So it is a dark atmosphere, cave-like, cellar-like, but upscale.
Yeah.
Really good place at Epcot. I highly recommend Le Cellier.
All right. Next, hopping back over to the Grand Floridian.
Wow, we've talked about this a lot,
Yeah.
so we don't need to belabor it, but it is
Victorian Albert's.
Victorian Alberts.
Fantastic.
I mean,
expensive,
yeah,
but I'd say worth it.
there's no question that it's the best restaurant at Walt Disney World in terms of everything: food quality, service, ambiance, in terms of fine dining. You can't beat it, but it is, first of all, kids under 10 are not allowed.
Yeah. So we have only been there a few times because I just recently was allowed to go in there.
And also, I mean, it's a true experience. You're looking at 5 hours minimum.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah,
4 hours minimum.
well, maybe.
We were there for
4.5, almost 5 hours.
No, we were there for 4 hours, 46 minutes.
Okay, so
I
almost
timed it.
5 hours. There you go, right?
Rounding to 5 hours.
And you don't know because what they threw in extra courses in ours and just plan. So here's my tip for Victoria and Albert's: get an early seating, unless you want to be there till 1 a.m. But we got one of the first ones. Sure, we were like second or third table the most recent time.
Yeah.
But an hour later, it's full.
Mm-hmm.
But at least that way you're getting out by 10.
We were out by like 9:40.
Yeah, so that gives you some time to walk it off because you're going to be full.
Yeah.
So it is.
Oh no, we were there for over 5 hours.
Whatever it is, it's 5-ish.
Our seating was like 4:30.
It's a long time.
Remember? And we didn't get out till like almost 10.
No, our seating was 5.
Oh right, 5,
don't open
9:40.
that, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was 4 hours and 40. Yeah, 4 hours.
Anyway,
and
it's a
46
long
minutes,
time is my point. So just bear that in mind. You're not going to rush out of there for fast passes or anything. So
if
make
you
sure
think you're eating dinner at 7, you won't be done till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, so just if you're doing that, then that's you have nothing after that.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, there's
it's great. If you want the best of the best, that's Victoria and Albert's. Listen to our past episodes where we talked about that. I can't remember what episode that was. But
we've talked about it in multiple.
Yeah, so it's a great one. Now, we're jumping back to Epcot.
Yeah.
For another classic that I really love. Really love.
This one is fantastic.
And it is located in which pavilion?
The France.
The France Pavilion. And there are a couple there, but this is Monsieur Paul. Monsieur Paul is upstairs. Again, another really, really nice upscale restaurant. Good service, great French cuisine. One of the classics is that molten chocolate dessert.
Oh, Daddy, stop. You're making me hungry.
I know. I knew doing this episode was going to make us hungry. But
it was just melting with the warm chocolate.
Yeah, it's crazy. You've got to get that dessert. The beef's amazing. They have some great elderflower Saint Germain drinks as well. Just a really, really great place.
I can't speak for those, so.
What's your favorite of all these so far?
Ooh, of all the top 10. Well, not even
top 10, just the
top
ones we've
picks.
discussed.
Ooh, well, I
mean,
wait.
Are we going to do this or that, or should we finish out and then go back for this or that?
Let's
just finish out and then I'll go back and I'm going to give you a this or that. Wait. I'll do it.
Don't do a favorite?
So no, not yet, because I'm going to do a this or that, and that'll help you with your favorites.
And I want to say before we do, I want to have a few honorable mentions.
Okay. So one, I just want to say that we're watching, but I would still recommend trying is Topolino Terrace in the new Riviera, Disney's Riviera Resort. The one thing, so far so good, nice atmosphere, upscale. It is a little bit out of the way. That resort is a little bit out of the way.
But if you are staying at the Riviera or in that Epcot area.
Yeah, it's probably worth a try, but we're going to come back and do more on that.
Or hey, if you want to try out the Skyliner.
Yeah.
Skyway.
Just don't get stuck.
Don't get stuck.
Not a fan of that, but that's fodder for another episode.
That's another episode. Yeah.
So Topolino Terrace. Now, there are two that we're going to mention that were past favorites of ours, both of these. They
are not bad, but they are just not.
Well, they were both on my top
anymore.
10 list for a long time
and they are no
over
longer
on my blog. They are no longer on it. They both dropped off. The first one.
No, wait. Before we do this, a few honorable mentions for top picks.
No, we're going to come back to top. Okay. Honorable mentions for top picks.
So let's just get done with the good ones and then move on to the downhills. So 1900 Park Fair.
Well, we're not doing character dining.
No, I know. But they do have.
It's a buffet.
I know, but the food's great.
It's not table service though, right? We're just talking table service.
Yeah, but. Well, you got me thinking because the Grand Floridian Cafe is right next to it.
I know, but we're going to do another one.
Now you got me thinking. And then
we're going to do another one on character dining, so hold that.
Great things there.
So let me go to these ones. Do you have any other?
Can you hear my stomach?
Do you have other table service only?
Table service only.
That aren't character or?
Well, not character. But what if it's character and table service?
No, we're going to talk about those.
It's still table service.
Yeah.
You just specify.
Fine. We're going to do that later. Let's talk about these two that have dropped off, in our opinion. And they're controversial, maybe, but first one is also at...
Oh, and some of these are only a certain meal.
Yeah. Well, so I'll first start with Narcoossee's, and then I'll let you talk about the other one.
Yeah.
So Narcoossee's, Grand Floridian, on the water, great location. For many, many years, it was my number one favorite restaurant, not including Victoria and Albert's, which is in a league of its own. But Narcoossee's was my favorite. And then about 5 I guess about 5 years ago. It's really the quality of the food, in my opinion. We ate there a lot,
Yeah, like a lot.
like year after year. So we noticed these changes. We don't just go to these places once. It started dropping in quality, and even service. It
And
just
it
wasn't.
happened slowly
It happened
too.
slowly, and then one day we were back at Grand Floridian Cafe, and that's when I went and started recommending to people the Grand Floridian Cafe is superior to
Yeah,
Narcoossee's. Is
I
the
remember
bottom
you were
line.
like, actually, I think I like this
I
better.
liked the steak better.
Yeah,
The service was better. They were friendlier. The
yeah.
ambient, everything. So
This is how it happened. Like we were staying at the Grand Floridian, and we do stay there a lot, and we would always eat at Narcoossee's. And then one trip we went there, and Daddy was like, I don't know, it just seems not as good. And then the next day or a few days later, we went to the Grand Floridian Cafe, and you were like, wow, I think this is better.
this is better. And then we started going back
I
and
have to
forth
change my
comparing them.
list.
Yeah. So, in our opinion, Narcoossee's, it's still got this great reputation. People, it's good. Don't get me
It's
wrong.
not- it's
not like
not
it's
bad.
but for the cost of it, it's not worth it in
Yeah.
my estimate.
Yeah.
In my estimation, it's a great location. I love the location on the water, especially if the fireworks are on while you're there. So another one that has fallen off our
It's
list.
just there's better options.
Another one that has fallen off our list for explain
Dinner.
why for dinner only
dinner.
is
Ohana.
Ohana. Another one, and it's almost the same story. For many years, I would tell everyone to go to Ohana for dinner because the food quality was great. It's sort of like a Brazilian steakhouse style, the way they bring things to your table. And there is a lot of fun things for the
Yeah.
kids. They have the
And I
ukulele
think
player.
there's characters for breakfast too.
The breakfast, I still
So,
recommend. We're
yeah,
going to do that.
But I don't think that can be on this list because it is character.
Yeah, and so we'll talk about that separately. So
Yeah.
Ohana for breakfast, just for the sake of this broadcast today, is great. But Ohana for dinner, I no longer recommend versus some of the other things we've talked about today. Sure, if you go there, it'll be good, but it's not as good as it used to be. And the beef dishes are certainly are not as good. It's just gone down all around, in my opinion. It used to be top notch. Okay,
Yeah.
before we wrap it out, I want to do some this or that.
And for this or that, we're just going to do quick wildfires, so no reasons because we've already explained our reasons why we love them.
You can
So
give
we're
a
just
little
gonna
bit
say,
if you want to.
yeah, but we're just
Okay.
going to say which one we like better.
Okay.
Yep.
Takumi Te versus the Boathouse.
Boathouse.
Takumi Te. Close call, though. See, I just went off the
Definitely
top of
close.
my head, and I think it
I
might
think
be
you might have done one of my top twos, not including Victoria and Albert's,
Okay.
obviously.
Citricos, California Grill.
California Grill.
California Grill for me as well. Monsieur Paul or Le Cellier.
Monsieur Paul.
Oh, this is a close one for me. I'm going Monsieur Paul, too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Canada.
Sorry, Canada.
we both voted with friends today. And let's see, what have we not done? So how about California Grill and Monsieur Paul?
Ooh, California Grill.
Really? Oh, it's a tough
I don't know.
one.
Very close call.
Very close. I'm not sure I can pick a winner.
with these ones. But if you are in Epcot,
I think I'm going California Grill too. I think
Yeah.
I'm going California
I mean,
Grill.
if you're planning to go to Epcot and you're not staying at the Contemporary, then do Monsieur Paul. But if you're staying at the Contemporary, I'd do California Grill.
Yeah. So listen, that's all we want. All we have time to talk about today. You have one more point?
What's your favorite?
Not including Victoria and Albert's?
Well, you can include it, but
Well,
then,
Victoria and Albert's is my favorite.
but
but
then- okay.
honestly, I can't eat there every trip. I
Yeah.
would go broke, and it's just it's a lot of food
yeah,
and a lot
it
of
is,
time.
It's very filling,
And I like it. It really is more of a special
especially
event
with the wine
for
pairing.
us. I know there's people who go there more regularly. I don't know how they do it, just
Yeah.
from it's so much.
Our waiter said, "Oh, and the regulars, the regulars. How do you go there?"
Oh wow! I don't know if I can pick a favorite of
I
the
can.
other ones. What? Okay, you go ahead.
Boathouse.
Yeah, I really like the Boathouse. We gotta definitely go there again next time.
And I love Takumi Te, but it has some of the same feel as Victoria and Albert's for me, which is
That's a good point. It
the
does.
upscale fancy feel. And if you just want sort of a still table service, but not
Yeah,
as
it's
fancy.
a good point. Takumi Te is very formal.
Yeah.
It's not as loud. It's not as boisterous. The Boathouse is more of it's upscale, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Takumi Te is more fine, truly fine dining.
I
mean,
wore
it's,
almost the same outfit
Yeah.
for Victoria and Albert's and Takumi Te the most recent times.
yeah,
but
so it's definitely up there.
yeah.
So listen, we sort of did a wildfire quick walk through some of our favorites. Any one of the ones we've mentioned today that we liked, I will
Yeah.
stand behind. And you can always have a bad day or any restaurant, or any restaurant can outperform. But
Yeah.
we go to these a lot, and these are our top performers, the ones we really like. So hopefully that helps you if you're making your reservations. So thank you for listening today. As always, we'll have some show notes with more information on some of these. Find us on social at 1923 Main Street, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for listening. Have yourselves a great day, and you might want to go and eat something now.
Bye-bye.